am never going to stop falling in love with the recording in progress statements, because I do not feel like a fool when I start talking and somewhere in the middle, you'll get something like in progress and that's it. And I'll be like, well, I sound real dumb saying stuff like that. Anyway, welcome to the Woman's Cave. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am Winona. And wow, why did I introduce myself like that? Yes, I am Winona. Like, obviously I'm Winona. I feel like the narcissist is starting to show a bit, just a tinge. Anyway, we wrote books. And when I say we, I mean the And I Thought ladies, not me thinking that I'm multiple people. No, people, I do not have that disorder. I'm not that narcissistic. Can you imagine my ego on 4 or 5 people in my head? I don't think so. But we wrote books, the And I Thought ladies. We have And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy, And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, Other Life Lessons, If Only I Were Me, a memoir in verse, Widow's Web, Widow's Dead, Foreign Coffee are all audiobooks. If you want to read about the extra 11 books, that makes a grand total of 17 for all of you out there who don't feel like doing the math, but I feel like doing it because I love to brag. I'm sorry, I'm back on track. 17 books. You can see them at www.andithoughladies.com. And yes, I do .com like I'm selling a car because Jade's not here to stop me. One more time, y'all, www.andithoughladies.com. Oh, that feels good. But you're not here to hear about me. You're here to hear about my wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. I'm still laughing. I don't know if I can introduce myself. My name is Karen E Osborne, and I am an author. I wrote my first novel, came out 4 years ago. Number 2 came out in July, and number 3 comes out next summer.
Ooh, I like this. Next summer. I'm telling you, this is an author that plans. I said I was going to write a style book because we're keeping it under wraps. And yeah, I got 3 weeks till deadline. Guess who's just started writing?
That wouldn't work for me.
So let's start with, are you a pantser or a plotter?
So, I'm a little bit of both, if that's possible to talk about. I start with characters in my head. These women talk to me and they just stay in my head and insist on their story being told. And so I think them all through, and then the plot comes, kind of what am I going to do with them? But it always starts with character. I've never actually written out an outline of a book, but I'm always just working on it. Sometimes the women take me places that I'm surprised, like, really? But yes, they take me off to someplace else. I did have to be more of a plotter with my second book, Tangled Lies, because it's a murder mystery. And you can't kind of wing a murder mystery, because at the end, then the reader goes, what? So you have to really think about it a little bit more and not just let your characters take you wherever they want.
Okay, I've just learned a lot because when I jumped into writing, I wrote murder mysteries by the seat of my pants.
Well, good for you.
No, but I was young and I memorized every word of the book. So yeah, that's probably why. So apparently, if I want to do this now correctly, I need to plot. Thank you. I've learned something.
A little bit, because you don't want whoever did it or however the end is going to happen. If you haven't thought about that, then you're not leaving the right clues along the way. And then your reader can be, like, I don't know what's going on. How did that happen? And feel annoyed at the end. So that was my limited experience.
Okay, can you tell us a bit about Tangled Lies? Because I'm interested in mysteries, so.
Yeah. So Tangled Lies is a story about Vera. Vera is a 70-year-old Black woman, and she comes home one day to the apartment she shares with her adult son, and she finds him brutally murdered. And that's the first chapter. And the police don't know. They can't find clues, even though there's DNA all over the place, but they couldn't, track it or find out. And, it was another Black man dead, So she, 3 months later, she is in a car accident. And the young white woman, 25-year-old Danny, witnessed it. and she thinks it was staged. She looked at it and she said, no, something isn't right. And so she tracks down Vera. And so the story is about these two flawed but relatable women, two different generations, two different races, who come together over 2 weeks in May to solve the murder of Vera's dead son.
Wow. Okay, talk about needing to be a plotter. I see why.
Including getting the car crash right. I can't tell you how many times I had to rewrite that darn car crash. People, my beta readers would say, Karen, wait a minute. The car was going which way? And then it's fun, which way? And I had to redo that little scene. So when you read Tangled Lies, check out that car crash, because I honed that baby. I worked it.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna scan and be like going straight to the car crash, because I'm gonna read it. And if you see it, it's not plagiarized. It's just copied word for word. And this video will be used against me if I do that.
Yes, it will.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So the next question I wanted to know is, how did you get started writing in the first place?
I was very young girl, and I would make up stories, and tell them to my girlfriends, the friends on the block. But because they weren't interested in hearing my stories, I would tell them it was true. And I would tell them about all these adventures that I had. And then they would listen rapt and they would really enjoy it. But then they'd run and ask my brother if it was true. And he'd say, nah, she made it all up. And then they'd be really mad at me and they wouldn't talk to me for a week. But that got me started. That helped me think that I really had stories that I wanted to tell. But then I had a big career and family and all of that. And so I had to put all my writing aside. And so getting it right, book number one, product placement, you notice, book number one, it came out in 2017 and I was 69 years old. And Essence Magazine said it was a best read for the summer, that summer. And Poets and Writers Magazine did a 2-page spread on it. And I was hooked. I lied to myself and said, if this is all there is, then I'm grateful. If this is it, then I'm grateful. I'm good. That wasn't really true. It wasn't true. So then I wrote Tangled Lies, and I found a publisher, query, rejection. And then my publisher, Black Rose Writing, which is the second publisher I've had, he said, we love it. And then he called me 1 week after Tangled Lies came out in the summer. And he said, Karen, do you have another book? And I said, yes, I do. And so he said, well, send it to me right now. So I sent it to him. And so we have a June 16th, 2022 publishing date for Reckonings.
Ooh, I'm loving the name. I have chills. After Tangled Lies, I'm a little concerned about how good any car accidents or action scenes are going to be finely honed. I'm sorry for what you have to go through to write those. But you gotta admit, it is so much fun, trying to remember which way the car spins and then making sure that the physics is right and you have the speed right. That used to be my favorite part about writing it, action for others.
It is.
Yeah. So you also have a way of letting the world know about your books a bit more than the normal author, otherwise known as a Mastermind Podcast. Can you tell us how you got started, what we can expect to hear when we Thank you, Jade. Tune in. That was literally the word that I was looking for.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking. So in my previous life, my professional life before my full-time writing life, I was a professional speaker. I spoke all over the world. I've been to Asia, all over Europe, Africa. And so I thought, well, I should use what I'm good at, what I already knew how to do. And so many writers are shy and quiet people, and they stay in, unlike you and me, they stay inside and kind of quiet. So this was such a good thing for them because I helped them feel comfortable and we would laugh. And so people liked coming on. I didn't know I had a show until somebody contacted me and said, could I be on your show? Like, oh, I have a show. Oh. So anyway, you can find me at www.kareneosborne.com. And I just interview all kinds of writers, all races, ages, genres. One that's coming up Tuesday is a musician, and he brought his sax and his keyboard because he wrote a book, and he plays a little for us and tells us about the book. And I've had visual artists, people who do design their own book covers. So it's just a real mix of people, including I interviewed my son and my grandson, who are both writers.
I'm sorry, how proud were you and your grandson? I mean, you were proud when your son came in on, obviously, but everybody, like every grandmother, creams when their grandson has done something amazing. So how proud were you?
I'm so proud. He is 15 years old and he's already written 2 books. 15.
Wow.
Finished them.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yes.
I feel like we need to have him on the show.
He's very
so my cute little viewers can see it.
He's very shy. He's very shy. He wouldn't even let me videotape him. He made me send him the questions and he wrote the answers. Whereas my son, who is also a writer, he let me videotape him.
Oh.
So they're both on there. Robert Osborne and J.P. Osborne.
Oh, I love that. J.P. Osborne. That's awesome.
Doesn't that sound like an author?
That does. I was like, he was born to write.
There you go.
You knew what you were doing. Okay. So I would ask the final question, but I feel like you've already covered it from all your years for all your shows that you've done. But I'm going to ask anyway. Where can people find out more about your books, about your podcast, and about you if you want to put your social media handles out there?
Yes. So I have a YouTube channel. It's Karen E Osborne. You got to remember the E because there is another Karen Osborne who's is a writer, and she has 2 books out, just like me. So I'm Karen E Osborne on YouTube. I'm Karen E Osborne author on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter. I tweet every day. I put posts every day on LinkedIn. And then again, my web page is KarenEosborne.com.
Thank you so much, Karen. I want to tell you, everyone that actually watched this one, that we had a little bit of an issue in the beginning, and Ms. Osborne was so gracious and so patient. I feel like I should give her an extra 15 minutes, but I've run out of questions.
They won't listen that long.
The longest anyone does at YouTube is 15 minutes, so I'm pushing it as it is. You can find out, I'm going to wrap us up then. You can find out everything that your ladies are doing and a few things that we wish we hadn't put out there in the universe at www.andithoughladies.com. And every time I say that, not Jade, tell you that the statement is actually true. It is not a bit. We are still cleaning up the website. So if you want to see the things we wish we had put up there, you better hurry. Anyway, when you go to www.andithoughladies.com, go down to the bottom of the page and you can see the 3 charities that we proudly support. We thank you in advance for helping them out, also, especially in these hard times. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to it. Oh my word, I'm about to mess up my tagline. This is ridiculous. This is not a good day for me. All right, from the top. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to listening and applying it. Yep, that's what I'm going with today. So peace and love from Winona and the missing Jade, who would have got that tagline right.
Thank you so much.